But what I want to do today is I want to teach you a little bit about what's inside the book. My book is called Gut Check, and I'm talking about all about why the broken medical model is something that you need to be aware of, because literally I'm on a mission to save 5 million lives from this broken medical model, and I cannot do that alone. And so that's why I come on and I do these videos to help spread the message about where health really comes from, and that is from within. The very best doctor of all is the one that resides within each and every one of you. That's a fact that will never change for eternity. The best doctor of all is the one that runs you, the one that's internal, the one that resides within. So what we're going to talk about today is stress. And stress is the only reason why any of us get sick, get diseased, get ill. And that's the only reason, stress. Stress has three main categories, okay? Stress has a physical origin, physical structural, chemical, environmental, nutritional origin, and then an emotional component. So let's go ahead and do some whiteboard action right now. These are the three ways that we get sick, and only these three ways. Now, one of the problems with the medical model is they're never looking at the source of the problem, which is stress, okay? They're always wanting to treat symptoms. That's a big problem because you can't fix a physical stress with a pharmaceutical. You can't fix a chemical, nutritional stress with a pharmaceutical. You can't fix an emotional stress with a pharmaceutical. You can dampen the symptoms with prescription meds, but as long as you are aware that you are never really addressing cause if you're looking at RX, okay? If you're looking at pharmaceuticals, that's never the solution to, resolve this, to balance this, to normalize that situation. Only nutrition normalizes function. If you can take one big thing away from anything that I teach, it's that. Only nutrition, okay? Hence food, hence digestion. Oh my goodness. Only those things are going to normalize function because we are made up from food. Foods are fats, carbs, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. That's what food is. Fats, carbs, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. These foods have very specific play in how we nourish the body. So anyway, that is important for you to understand that. From our food, we get our energy. From our food, we get our energy. If we are not digesting food properly, we are going to be negligent in how well we're receiving energy. Your fats, your carbs, your proteins, they all supply energy, every single one of them. But only proteins does three things, which is give you energy, help with growth and repair, I talked about this on the last video, and bring you back into balance or homeostasis, okay? Only protein does all three of those three things. Protein only. And thankfully, we have this gland right here called the hypothalamus, which is relying heavily on food, heavily on nutrition for body balance. The hypothalamus is the master gland of the body, using the food that we're eating, and it's checking things. The hypothalamus is key to all of this. It is the key to homeostasis. The hypothalamus is. All right, body balance. Body balance. So this is happening through the food that we're eating. It's being fed, it's being broken down, it's being digested so that the hypothalamus can do its magical work. Now, when we talk about homeostasis or body balance, we're thinking about things like blood pressure. We're thinking about things like respiration rate. We're thinking about things like the volume of our different fluids, the concentration of the different fluids. There are so many things that the body is checking, and that's what this gland does, the hypothalamus. And it does it in a better way when you have less stress. It does it in a better way when you are effectively digesting your food. Because when we are under stress, guess what happens? We are burning through the fuel. We are burning through so much food and we are lowering our energy. Okay? I'm kind of like giving you a lot of complex points here that are all in the book, but the whole point is that you understand that it's from our food, especially when we properly digest it, that we receive energy. You are never going to receive energy from this. Ever, okay? RX, prescription meds. You are never going to get energy from that. It's the opposite. You are actually losing energy when you consume these products because they are not this. The simple fact is this. If you are taking a prescription medication, I am not telling you to stop taking that. That's not my job. I'm not an MD. I would not do that. But what I am saying to you is I want you to be fully aware that if you are taking a prescription medication, that it's not nourishing you. It's not going to normalize function because it can't. I talk a lot more about that in my book, all right? Only nutrition will normalize function. Again, I'm not telling you to stop taking your meds. That would be irresponsible, but it's responsible and my mission and my calling to tell you that if you think you're doing something good to nourish you, to heal you, to give you more energy by taking those meds, think again. Okay? So last thing I want to say is there's a quote up here that I love that's in the book from Donald Yance. And he says, Donald Yance, that quote, stress causes energy to be deployed for the stress response, draining the internal life force energy. Stress causes energy to be deployed for the stress response, draining the internal life force energy. Said a different way, he is saying that when we are under stress, all of the nutrition that should be healing our body is now being drained toward fighting that stress response. Because when we're under stress, we lose alkaline minerals. We lose vital nutrition because the body is combating that stress and trying to balance it out. So this is a big problem that you need to be thinking about. The last thing you want to be thinking is when you're already under any kind of stress response, this is certainly not going to fix it. All right, this is going to add to the problem. The medical model is broken. The medical model is broken and very disturbed, which is why the title of my book, Gut Check, How the Broken Medical Model is Creating More Sickness and Why Timeless Healing Principles Are Needed Now. This book is going to be the biggest way that I help spread this message to save 5 million lives, because many of you are taking these drugs thinking that you are doing something good for yourself. Many of you are taking prescription drugs because you don't realize that there are other options. Many of you are taking these prescription drugs because you don't understand the physiology of the body and how it needs it needs nutrition to normalize function. This is why I've been able to make such a change in my community, because I understand these timeless healing principles, like the body knows how to heal itself, like nutrition normalizes function, like all of the defense of your body exists in your immune system, like in your immune system lives in your gut. These are principles that are in the book that I talk about further. When we are under digestive stress, that digestive stress occurs in 8 sequences. The further down the sequences we go, the more stressed one is. All of that is in the book, all right? So the first thing that stresses out our gut is our diet is a mess. We're eating foods that are full of GMOs. We're eating foods that are polluting our system versus nourishing our system. So diet is the first phase of stress. Then it affects digestion. Then it affects our bowel movements. Then it creates inflammation. Then it affects your immune system. Lupus, immune system. Where does your body's defense and fortress reside? In the gut. Your immune system, 80 to 90% of it is in the gut. So that's the 5th phase, is the immune system. Then it affects your autonomic nervous system, which is your parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. That sympathetic nervous system is what most of the society is stuck in, meaning they are stuck in that fight or flight response. They're constantly tense, angry, and upset, and there's no reason to be in terms of there's not a bear in the room, there's not a grizzly bear coming after us, there's not some hatchet killer coming after us, thankfully, right? But yet we're stuck in this fight or flight response because we've not addressed those previous steps of stress. We're not eating properly, we're not hydrating, we're not having proper bowel movements, we're not digesting food well, and on and on. So diet, digestion, bowel movements, inflammation, then it affects your immune system. That's number 5. Then number 6 is your autonomic nervous system. Then number 7 is your endocrine system, which is your hormone system. And then number 8 phase of stress is your lymphatics. That's your body's sewer system. And that's where I start with all patients. If you're already stressed in that lymphatic system, that's where I must start to reverse that level of stress. And I do that by my gutprotocol.com. All of this is in the book, but that's how I would address that, how I would address any of the different diseases or any of the different illnesses or any of the different stresses out there. I address the same, which is I look for what is the cause of it? How is this impairing somebody's energy through the digestive system? That's what makes me so different, is that's how I am looking. I am honoring the body's ability to heal itself, and I am respecting that doctor within is far superior than anything that I might know. And if you're not working with a doctor like that, I highly suggest that you do. work with doctors who understand and have the humility to say that the very best doctor isn't that doctor, it's the doctor that resides within. So that's what this book is all about. It's about telling you and teaching you how you can go about looking at food and nutrition and digestion and stress and energy and getting your mind around just how simple it really is when we embrace the timeless healing principles that will never change for eternity. These are principles of our physiology that are untouchable. They cannot be refuted. It's just the way it is. The more people who are out there learning about how health really comes from within, and the more people that are out there learning about how they are the key role, that they have to be accountable and responsible to be that solution seeker, the faster my mission will be accomplished to save 5 million lives. I can't do it alone. So thanks for watching this, and I will see you next time.